All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So the Pittsburgh Steelers made a move earlier today, signing Cordell Patterson. But folks, the Pittsburgh Steelers, oddly enough, even with all the offseason additions they made, Russell Wilson, Patrick Queen, Deshaun Elliott, Justin Fields, Dean Lowry, Cordell Patterson, their win total opened up at just 7.5 wins. Now, one day later, today, the line already made a significant move, going up to 8.5 wins. Still kind of weird, still kind of silly to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers were around that mark for last year's projected win total. Obviously, they ended up going 10-7, making the playoffs. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season as the head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But folks, I think this Cordell Patterson move is flying under the radar because of the new rule changes that we saw earlier today in the National Football League. Now, before we get into that, Cordell Patterson in general is one of the best as kickoff returners of the entire NFL history. All right. He has had 9 such kickoff returns throughout his career, returning it to the end zone, and he averages 29.3 yards per kickoff return. Now, over the past 2 seasons, over 16 total returns, he has 1 touchdown taken back and averaged a 27.3 yard per return rate. Now, he had only 50 rushes for 181 yards this past season. However, the year before that, in 2022, he had 695 rushing yards on 144 carries, averaging 4.8 yards per carry. The reason that's important is because he was with the Atlanta Falcons, where Arthur Smith, the new offense coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was the head coach. So before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We're posting a ton of Steelers videos on this channel, especially in the last week. Steelers fans, love you guys as always. If you try and get this video to 150 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So the rule I was just alluding to was based on what the XFL was using over the last 2 seasons. The ball is kicked off from the 35-yard line, just like it is right now. But instead of the kick coverage team being placed next to the kicker, they are on the opposite 40-yard line, all right? The opposing team's 40-yard line. So the blockers are lined up between the 30 and the 35-yard line, which is about 10 to 15 yards away. Now, this has been used in the XFL for the last 2 seasons, right? This rule was implemented to bring back kick returning. Now, it's not so much speed. That's what a guy like Calvin Austin III would be used for. You need to have run vision. And that's exactly what Cordell Patterson has. He started off in the league as, a special teams guy, a wide receiver. And, with Atlanta, he was moved to the running back position. And we go back, I get it, he's getting up there in age, but once again, he's one of the best kickoff returners of all time in the National Football League. And then we go back 2 seasons ago, because keep in mind, the Atlanta Falcons drafted Bijan Robinson. So you had Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier as your RB1 and your RB2 in Atlanta last season. So there wasn't really much need for Cordell Patterson. Now, Arthur Smith, I'm sure, is still going to utilize him in the running game and in the receiving game, but this addition was pretty much just after the NFL announced this new rule. Guys, I've been watching XFL film all day on this. I love the rule change. I've seen a lot of confusion. I've seen a lot of negativity regarding this rule change. They made this move immediately after it. So Omar Khan, the Khan artist, made another Khan move, another Khan signing. This is a game changer because you can run those back. Folks, go watch some XFL film on kick returns. It looks extremely fun. And even if it was Calvin Austin or even Quez Watkins, their addition from a couple of days ago, you just picked up Cordell Patterson. This is a needle moving move as far as, a special team touchdown. Whenever you get them, that's underrated. You don't see too many in today's era, but the point is this: my stance on special teams, kick returns, punt returns, whatever it is, you never realize how important it is unless you have either a really good return unit or a really bad return unit. And now Pittsburgh has one of the best return units in the National Football League, picking up Cordell Patterson. So when we take a look at the Steelers offseason, this guy, the Pony Express, put out a great tweet. You add a competent offense coordinator in Arthur Smith. You add a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson. You add a young dual threat QB in Justin Fields. You add an all-pro inside linebacker in Patrick Queen. And then you just added the greatest kickoff return man of all time. So the Steelers offseason additions are looking like this: Russell Wilson, Cameron Johnston, Patrick Queen, Dante Jackson, cornerback, Deshaun Elliott, safety, Justin Fields, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, a couple of wide receivers, Kyle Allen, Dean Lowry, and now Cordell Patterson. And what I want to find, actually, before we get into the draft real quick, Calvin Austin earlier today vows to be the quote-unquote real deal, ready for training camp so he can quote-unquote dominate. Calvin got injured in his rookie season, right? So last year was not technically his rookie season, but it pretty much was as far as playing time because he didn't play in 2022. I still have really high hopes for Calvin. I think, when we look at the Steelers offense last season, we've talked about this for like a month or two, the 28th ranked points per game. The Pittsburgh Steelers were averaging less than 18 points per game, folks. They were the 4th worst scoring offense. They were the 5th worst passing offense. And I get it. There's still a need for wide receiver too. But I just want to say Calvin Austin, especially when he was drafted, like in 2021, I get it. That's a couple of moons ago, 74 catches in the final year at Memphis, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. He averaged 15.5 yards per catch, folks. In his 4-year collegiate career, Calvin Austin III averaged 16.3 receiving yards per game. I genuinely think he can. He only had 100 plus receiving yards this past season. I genuinely think Arthur Smith has a role for him, and I think he's going to be at least a 500-yard receiver this upcoming season. Now, still with that being said, all right, they still need a wide receiver too. And it's not looking great like they are going to be signing a Tyler Boyd. A lot of you guys were thumbing down my Odell Beckham Jr. proposition in yesterday's video. Rookies can make impacts. And we go back to last season. All right, rookie wide receiver selected, and take this from a Green Bay Packers fan who we had a couple of rookies, guys like Jaden Reed with 793 receiving yards in his rookie season. We go to Dontavian Wicks, 581 receiving yards. These are guys. Jaden Reed was selected in the 3rd round. Dontavian Wicks, if I'm not mistaken, was a 5th round draft pick. Puka Nacua, right, broke the record, over 1,500 receiving yards. Right, Jordan Addison, 911. Sam Laporta, 889. I get it. He's a tight end, whatever. Zay Flowers, 858. Jaden Reed, 793. Josh Downs, 771. Tank Dell, 709 in an injured season. Kincaid, about 700 receiving yards. JSN, 628. Dontavian Wicks, 581. The list goes on and on and on. So my point is this. Even if Pittsburgh doesn't address their clear need for a wide receiver too, it can come in the draft. And if it does, I'm looking at a guy like Roman Wilson. We talked about it in yesterday's video, so I won't elaborate more on it. But the point is, you're getting skilled playmakers across both sides of the football. There is nothing to freak out about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're a month away from the draft. They're going to make moves. They're probably still going to make a move or two in free agency. Like, folks, I'd buy now. I'd buy low on that 7.5, 8.5 win total on the Pittsburgh Steelers for this upcoming season. And by the way, they have a much easier schedule, in my opinion, than they did last year. Although now that I say that out loud, I think they had an easier schedule. Still an easy looking schedule with a lot of unproven QBs or yet to be proven QBs. That's it from me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Let me know your thoughts on the Steelers offense, and let me know your thoughts on the Cordell Patterson signing.